Baruch Spinoza was a humble, intelligent, and fearless lens grinder in Europe, a man whose ideas would reshape the future of philosophy. Unlike many thinkers of his time, he was not tied to any church, university, or royal institution, and he refused to be confined by any of their boundaries. He chose freedom, not only to seek truth but also to remain faithful to his own reason. Like Kafka's Gregor Samsa or Camus' Meursault, he lived in solitude and estrangement, yet this isolation shielded him from superstition, dogma, and prejudice. When Spinoza began expressing the bold questions that occupied his mind, he inevitably attracted opposition. Those unsettled by his ideas sought to punish him, leveling numerous accusations against him. Born in 1632 into a Jewish family fleeing the Inquisition, Spinoza's family first escaped to France and later settled in the Netherlands. From a young age, his exceptional intelligence set him apart in the Jewish schools he attended. Teachers recognized in him a future leader, someone who might carry the spiritual light of their community. His family hoped he would become a rabbi, and Spinoza fulfilled their expectations by learning Hebrew early, both in the synagogue and at school. During this period, he read commentaries on the Torah and Talmud and explored the works of great Jewish scholars, including Maimonides, Levi ben Gerson, Ibn Ezra, and Hasdai. He went further, delving into the mystical philosophy of Ibn Gabral and the esoteric Kabbalistic writings of Moses de Cort. The more he learned, the more he hungered for knowledge. Traditional religious instruction and schooling no longer sufficed. In addition to Hebrew and Latin, he pursued studies in physics, chemistry, mechanics, astronomy, physiology, and philosophy. When he encountered René Descartes, who was investigating natural sciences, he was drawn even deeper into philosophical inquiry. Yet Spinoza's unflinching willingness to question made him increasingly isolated. The young man, once regarded as a guiding light by the clergy, gradually became viewed as dangerous, eventually being labeled an atheist. He was first accused of materialism and then of showing contempt for the Torah, in defense of his views. He wrote a treatise on God, man, and human happiness, but the work brought him more scrutiny than protection. In 1656, he was formally expelled from the synagogue with the pronouncement, "By the order of the angels and the judgment of the saints, we expel Baruch de Spinoza from our community. We curse him and cast him out." Spinoza was a remarkable intellect. Fluent in several languages, he read both sacred texts and philosophical works in their original forms. Through careful study, he discerned contradictions within Scripture and did not hesitate to question and discuss them. He argued that such contradictions could not be of divine origin, and that philosophy offered the proper path to understand God. What most angered his community, however, was his conception of God. For Spinoza, God was not a personal or anthropomorphic being. He described God as the sum of the natural and physical laws of the universe, not an individual creator. This view made him a pantheist. To Spinoza, God and nature were inseparable, two aspects of a single reality. This understanding directly challenged the traditional Abrahamic view of God as a separate, sovereign entity. In Spinoza's framework, everything that exists is part of God. He detailed this system in his masterwork, Ethics, which was published posthumously. For Spinoza, God is substance, that which exists in itself and through itself, independent of anything else. All else is a mode of this singular substance. In other words, God encompasses all matter in the universe. Nothing can be conceived apart from God. Spinoza did not deny God's existence. Rather, he offered a conception radically different from the traditional image. While the synagogue introduced him to God, the God he sought was closer to the philosophical God of Descartes. Descartes believed that the human idea of God must originate from God himself. Spinoza responded, "If a person has an idea of God, then God must have existed prior to this idea. For the human mind cannot generate ideas from nothing. Everything that exists does so for a reason. But what role does this God play?" For millennia, people prayed to God for happiness, wealth, and comfort. Spinoza's God does not answer prayers, perform miracles, intervene in human affairs, reward virtue, or punish wrongdoing. Qualities such as mercy, anger, or love are human projections, not divine attributes. According to Spinoza, these beliefs arose from centuries of superstition. People sought God through fear and emotion, not reason. True understanding, he argued, comes from asking why. The foundation of determinism. Determinism posits that nothing occurs without cause. Applying principles from mathematics and geometry, Spinoza described a universe governed by necessity, with God as the singular substance manifesting through causal laws. Spinoza's philosophical pursuits extended beyond religion to political philosophy, metaphysics, philosophy of mind, and epistemology. He championed freedom of expression yet denied the existence of free will. Every action has a cause, and that cause another, indefinitely. To comprehend God, he argued, one must first understand life and the universe. By studying the natural world and its laws, one can grasp the essence of God, a view reflecting his affinity with Stoic philosophy.